Well, guys, the mainstream media meltdown continues as CNN CEO and chairman Chris Licht is out. He has been let go, fired, whatever you want to call it. He is gone. He is done. We have to go ahead and talk about this because right now, the mainstream media is trying to paint it as though Chris Licht is the reason why CNN has done so bad. I just want to make sure I keep it very clear to you guys. CNN has had problems for a while now. This is before Chris Licht got hired. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Chris Licht got hired last year, so he's relatively new. And it's just funny that they're trying to blame him for everything. And don't get me wrong, he did not do a good job. I'm not saying he did a great job. He did not do a good job. He was awful. CNN Plus was absolute dog crap. It was horrible. It was the dumbest idea ever. They clearly didn't even understand their own audience when they launched it. That's why it failed, which is funny because they poured $300 million into it. Then on top of that, he lost his own anchors. His own anchors didn't even like the job that he was doing and the direction he was taking the company. Then you had ratings continuing to going down and all this other stuff. And again, CNN has been losing ratings for a while. So I guess first let's just go ahead and get into this. So Chris Licht is out. You can see right here, there was an article by the Wall Street Journal where it says top CNN anchors criticize CEO Chris Licht's leadership. And then you got some big names here. You got Jake Tapper, Aaron Burnett, Anderson Cooper are among the personalities voicing concerns about embattled chief executive Chris Licht. Oh, of course. They got the article subscription, so I can't even read it. Okay, that's fine. Well, we're just going to go ahead and go here. So CNN Plus was one of the biggest media failures we've seen in a long time. I mean, barely anybody signed up. Like, I remember hearing about it, and when I saw it, I was just thinking, like, I would never, like, you should pay me to sign up for this crowd. That's how bad I knew it was going to be. Like, I already knew. And it's crazy because they poured $300 million down the drain on this experiment, which is absolutely hilarious. This is the other funny part about mainstream media, guys. These mainstream media people are spending millions of dollars on all this fancy equipment and cameras and all these script writers. Because just so you guys know, the way media works is these guys are reading teleprompters all day long. They barely even have their own opinions. They're freaking reading teleprompters, but with these little script writers and CNN writing it for them. So these guys are spending millions of dollars on script writers and fancy editing and visuals and producers and editors, all this other stuff. And they are getting their butts handed to them by some freaking guy on YouTube. Literally, YouTube, these independent media people on YouTube are destroying these mainstream media networks. There are quite a few people on YouTube that I actually would much rather watch when it comes to like political news and different things like that. I mean, for crying out loud, I even have a YouTube channel, and I'm sure there's people out there who probably watch, this over mainstream media. You know what I mean? Like, I know for me personally, there are YouTubers that I like more than mainstream media. So it doesn't surprise me. I mean, the days of mainstream media are over, and you're continuing to see it. Let me show you guys something else. So we talked about how they got Donald Trump on their platform, and I said this numerous times. I made a video about it. I said that the main reason why they got Trump on their platform is because they were hoping that it would save it, and it didn't save it, but it got views, right? Like CNN's ratings and viewership went up after they had Donald Trump on their platform. However, just because you bring Donald Trump on your platform doesn't mean it's going to fix the overall problems of why people no longer watch your network. Because guess what? They had Nikki Haley do a CNN town hall that drew 80% less viewership than Donald Trump's broadcast. Why is that? Well, one, Nikki Haley sucks and nobody cares what she has to say. I know I didn't. Like I don't even like Trump, but when Trump went on CNN, you got dang right I watched it. When they said Nikki Haley was coming on, I click, turn the TV. I'm not watching that crap. Okay, let me show you guys something else. You also got to keep in mind that one of their biggest stars, Don Lemon, I know it's debatable, but I think he's one of their stars. He did end up getting fired / let go under Chris Licht's tenure. So I do think that that's important to talk about as well. And so, yeah, I mean, what else can you say? Mainstream media is literally dying. Now, the other thing that I did want to talk about with you guys is I wanted to kind of share some of the reasons why mainstream media is dying, and I do have some notes written down. So some of the things that I wrote down is there's a lack of trust. Trust in the news media is at an all-time low, and many people feel that this is a byproduct of the Trump era, which I agree with. In a survey that recently got conducted, half of Americans said that they believe that national news organizations intend to mislead, misinform, or persuade the public to adopt a particular point of view through their reporting. And that's what's leading to a lack of trust. Basically, the mainstream media is way too biased. They are, instead of trying to inform you and keep you updated on the truth and what's really going on in the world, what they're really trying to do is influence you. You know, you're seeing a huge rise in partisan media, and I think that that's something that's gotten a lot of people upset. You know, when I look at some of the most popular people out there, like Joe Rogan, which, by the way, he gets way more views than CNN on a daily basis, you know, somebody like him, well, one of the reasons why I think Joe Rogan is popular is because he represents what the average American thinks, feels, and kind of behaves, at least in my opinion. I really feel that way. And on top of that, he gives his honest opinion. He's not really partisan. He doesn't just praise Trump. He doesn't just praise Biden. And I think that's one of the big problems that you have with some of these networks. Like for me, one of the reasons why I don't trust CNN and I don't like them is because back during 2016 when Trump was running, there were actually some good things that Trump did that I was very happy about. I was like, wow, Trump is doing something good here. Even though I don't like him, I got to give him his credit. You will never, ever see Donald Trump get credit on CNN. So it was just stuff like that that just personally turned me off. I think there's another big thing that even the media itself, even the people who are writing about mainstream media losing a lot of viewership aren't covering, and I want to cover it here. I really think that the rise of Twitter and social media has led to a lot of why mainstream media is losing viewership. Because let's be honest, if I could just go on Twitter and get all the news that I need for the entire day in a matter of 10 minutes, why do I need to watch mainstream media? I don't give a crap about Jake Tapper's opinion. I don't give a crap about Don Lemon and Anderson Cooper's opinion. They're boring. They're not relatable. It's just not, it doesn't work. It's not good content. You know what I mean? I would much rather go on Twitter and turn notifications on for certain reporters and just get my news that way. So I really do think that platforms like YouTube and Twitter, independent media, so to speak, are also eating away at some of the market share that the mainstream media has. And like I said, it really just comes down to lack of trust. You know, these people really shot themselves in the foot. They've had so many different scandals. They've had so many instances where they pissed off a lot of their viewers because, you know, they just lost trust because they weren't being honest about certain situations. And then I'm sure you guys know about the political game that gets played behind closed doors. I used to work in politics, so I know how that game goes. And I've heard stories from people who worked at the top who told me certain things that happened where, you know, if you talk about certain politicians in a certain way, they'll call that network and they'll play this game where they'll be like, hey, would you like to ever get a meeting with Nancy Pelosi or ever get an interview? Okay, well, you better not say this about them or you'll never get an interview and you won't get an interview with this person. Like, that's really how the game goes behind closed doors. It's crazy. Politics really ruins a lot, especially in media. And I wish the media wasn't so, I don't know what the word is. I guess wasn't so beholden to a lot of these powerful politicians because they want interviews with them. You know what I mean? So it just, yeah. That's really all my thoughts about this whole thing. Chris Licht is out. He got fired at CNN and or let go, whatever you want to call it. And I just want to say he was a terrible CEO. He did a terrible job. He definitely wasn't good, but it's not completely his fault. CNN was going to fail no matter what. There is no person that they can hire or bring in to save the network. It is over. It is done. CNN is not coming back. It's already been painted on the right as fake news. And then the left doesn't even really like CNN anymore either. So it's pretty much over for them. Sorry, guys. There's nothing you can do. Sorry, Warner Brothers. CNN is done. You're not going to be able to save it. You could do whatever you want. You could try and fight the YouTubers or fight some of the people in independent media and try to keep your dominance, but it's just not going to happen. Eventually, the people are going to prevail and they're going to get what they want. And as of right now, the world has completely changed and the people want independent media because independent media is a lot more trustworthy, a lot more honest, a lot more bold, and the content is just better. That is why mainstream media fails and is not coming back. So anyway, those are my thoughts regarding the entire thing. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.